which I think, let me build on the previous question. Once your value system is built on that, okay, once you start exhibiting those values, the second thing which comes is self-awareness. And self-awareness, you need to kind of a very high emotional intelligence in place. Now, people talk a lot about emotional intelligence, but someone who is new to the entire concept of it, they say, okay, where do I start? As new leaders or even seasoned leaders, sometimes we kind of are at crossroads to really understand how do I start talking about emotional intelligence. I always tell them, you have to understand that you have to first be self-aware. You have to ensure that your self-management about the way you think, do things around is important. Your social awareness is pretty high. You know who people are around you, who are the people in your team who take the entire team together, who are social influencers, who are those grounders who ensure that you still get the job done even with all the celebration you have around you. At the same time, you also need to understand that you need to have a very high relationship management. Relationship management is not just peer to peer, but even down, even upward. Relationship management is critically important. Now, all these four things are critical for executive presence. Because once you walk in the room, people take notice. And that is where you talk about self-awareness. How self-aware about my aura, how I walk in, what do I talk, what kind of words do I use, what is my gravitas, how do I kind of, bring that on the table without being, pushy. And that is how you start doing management across different cultures, therefore different teams across different locations, even within your own team within India itself. But I remember a couple of years back, we were actually doing this very interesting learning session for an analyst, and we used to get analysts from different countries in Southeast Asia to kind of come and we used to, our own team members will come and take those sessions for them about how content's there, how do you do different kind of analytics and stuff like that. We had people from Korea up till India being a part of this particular session. Uh, 18 countries, 14 people in the room. And lot many times our own people who are trainers, who are facilitators. I don't call them trainers because training is for horses, and a lot of people would believe this. Okay, I used to have this small sticker in my on my workspace. Training is for horses, humans learn. Okay, so used to have our own people who are facilitators, and they used to come and ask us, they are not responding. They are extremely quiet. I don't know whether I'm getting through them or not. And I was just new in the organization. I had joined in July, and this was in August. And I remember, and I said, don't worry. Once you go back to your workplace, you will have emails from them asking them, or if not from them, but even from their managers saying that, can you elaborate on these concepts and stuff. I said, why? I said, because in Southeast Asian cultures, it's very unlikely for them to actually be forthright and start asking questions. So you need to be aware of those cultural context when you're actually having those conversation with them. So once you're self-aware, you know that when you're taking a session like this, you may have people who will come and ask these questions or may not ask these questions at all. But then you know what's going to happen. You know how the entire thing, how you manage the entire thing. Within the own session itself, you have multiple people who are like, you should be socially aware about what are their emotional cues when they start asking these questions, or how do you respond to those questions. So don't force questions out of them, but they'll automatically come back to you. Uh, and then you build a relationship kind of stuff. And the way that you do this is to kind of bring a gravitas on the table so that they know exactly, I want to be a leader like this person has a executive presence when they walk in. So we used to have these, we used to give them small snippets of knowledge before they used to do this learning session. Say, do this, it'll help you a lot and stuff like that. And that kind of helped a lot because we had perhaps the highest rating for a learning session on that particular time, because it's just about building that exit presence when you walk into the room. The second time which actually happened was when we actually had a executive presence learning session that we did for our leaders, and these are site leadership team, uh, various diverse areas of work that they have, diverse experience they bring on table, huge experience, accumulative experience, maybe 50, 60 years in the room itself. But then when the site leader, she asked me to, hey, can we do something on executive presence? That's why you are saying this. Why would this group need executive presence?
Mm.
I knew the answer, but then I said, let it come from, let it come to the leader itself, because that will actually help me create a learning session which kind of, talks about this is what it is. So she gave a particular 3 or 4 points saying that, hey, this is what we want. They should be able to manage virtually distributed teams globally, and it can be, it's not just uh, our our folks out there in US are our partners. They are not our, they are not our clients. So I want them to kind of, talk to them at an equal space, and that is where exit presence is required.
Right.
When they're trying to give a message to the team. The entire storytelling, the entire formation of story is not coming out very clearly in stuff. So that is required, and that's the reason why we need executive presence on that. And third and most important, when you walk into the room, people take notice. Okay, people take that is critically important, and there's a lot of things which goes behind it. Uh, Maybe skill is one of them. One of the most important things. Competency is one of the things. People talk a lot about skill and competency. I always talk about competency. Skill you can learn, but competency is what creates executive presence for you. Because yeah, you can walk in, but if there is no competence which follows an image, then it does not make any sense at all. So that is something which is important for building that executive presence. So awareness, management, social awareness, and relationship management, 4 key things, which is the foundation of emotional intelligence, important for executive presence. Gravitas, the most important, because all the stuff, the way that you communicate to people, gravitas is the most important thing that you have. And third and most important is try to understand subtle cues from your team, cues from your environment around you, which kind of, when you walk in the room, you pick those cues up and you play
Yep.
around with those cues to understand how you are, and what kind of audience is there, and whom I'm talking to and stuff. So that is becomes extremely important, critical. So yes, this is the way that you can actually build exit presence. But then I would say for me, it's the epitome of exit presence was Nelson Mandela. The way he used to kind of send out messaging, and he came in a time where South Africa was going through a lot. They had just moved out of apartheid. He was given a broken country. How you managed a country at that time where communication is free flowing. People know you have television, you have newspapers, you got radio, you got multiple different methods of getting messaging across, and misinformation also at the same time. Now it is aggravated almost a million times
Yep.
with your social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name any social platform. There's a lot that you can do. So information spreads much more faster. Misinformation spreads even more faster. So for a leader trying to, walk in the room, take charge, and tell, look, this is what I bring on the table. This is what I believe in. This is where I need your help. This is where I need support, and this is what we'll achieve together. So when these messaging are said with gravitas, that brings a lot of extra presence as you walk in the table. And obviously, I'm not undermining the body language.
Absolutely.
That also is critical. That's also